pissing, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, 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 Boogie like pissing, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shame for the championship. Bucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy, and you probably smell the crooked referees or Roger Goodell. Fucking like this, and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like this, and I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
Welcome. You're now rocking with the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, where we have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sport talk from your favorite sports fam. I'm Big Q. We up in this thing. Shout out to the fam as we start the stream off, man. Saints, Dalton taking them first team reps on the second day straight. We're gonna talk about that and more as we have a special guest. This brother here, y'all know this man, brother Terrance Copper, a diehard. Listen, man, we was talking prior to the show. And brother Terrance, first and foremost, I'd like to welcome to the Sports Coma, man, the home of the diehards, the great Saint think tank. We in full effect here, bro. We love the black and gold. We diehards. And bro, listen, you, my friend, you went to the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Cowboys, but my friend, you, sir, have a podcast, and you cover who?
Saints. Look, man, I am a fan of not just the team, man, but the city, the people, the culture. Like, I love New Orleans when I was down there, man. I hate I had to leave when I did, but man, I love it, man. I love New Orleans, and I'm excited to be able to do a podcast, Believe in Saints, and cover the Saints. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, man. And bro, when I was listening to an interview, bro, and I heard you say that, I said, man, we got to get this brother on here, man. This brother here, this brother got a black and gold spirit and soul, right, man. That's what I said, man. You put on the, hey, brother Terrance, put all them other colors on, bro. Say, man, take this on. We're gonna keep this on, baby. This is where we at. All right. So shout out to you. Thank you for joining us. And big ups to the rest of the family in the stream. Thank y'all for chiming in as well. And brother Terrance has a stream too that I all want y'all to go over there and subscribe to his channel. Brother Terrance, before we get going, kind of tell the family members about your stream, my friend, and what you talk about.
Oh yeah, so it's a podcast called Believe in Saints. Believe is BLEAV in Saints. We talk about everything Saints. We talk about the upcoming games, the post-game stuff. So it's everything we talk about is New Orleans. The highs and lows, what we need to correct, things we need to correct. It's all Saints, man, and that's what we do.
All right, see that sounds real good, man. Black and gold to the core, baby. That's what I'm talking about. All right, brother Terrance, in this one, bro. Man, listen, we got the injury report and a few things I want to talk to you about, bro. Firsthand, kind of talking about the ills and the ebbs and flows of it. The Saints right now kind of struggling offensively speaking. Man, the offense just is not jiving. It's not connecting. We got issues with health of our quarterback. We got all kind of stuff going on. Some missed blocks here or there, fumbling issues, all kind of stuff. Now we can throw injuries all up in that thing. So, let's start off. Let's look at the injury report first, my brother, on this Thursday stream, man, because listen, as you can see, it gets a little bit better. Paulson, Adebo, Kamara, Davenport fully practiced as Adebo and Kamara is limited with their ailments. JT Gray, our special team ace, he fully practiced. Deontay is limited. Traquan Smith, he had that concussion. He slammed his head on the turf, but he's fully practiced. That's good news. Taysom Hill was limited. He's back. Marcus May was limited with those rib issues. Ryan was limited. And, of course, you see Jameis with back and ankle issues. He didn't practice for the second straight day. and Jarvis Landry, who had an ankle issue, who left the game limping, bro. He didn't practice Wednesday, but today he was limited, which is good news. But Mike Thomas, bro, is DNP for the back-to-back days with that foot issue. And of course, even Andrews Pete had a concussion. He was limited in the action today. So let's get into that, brother Terrance. Let's talk about the impacts of some of these injuries on the Saints offenses. What is your thought process on the I guess the ineptitude of the Saints to job? We know that we kind of a banged up team right now going into the the fourth game. My goodness, we got a lot of issues going on right here. But what's your early take about this disconnection of the Saints offense, bro? What do you think is wrong with it?
You know what? I think it's a lot of things that's wrong with it. There's not one position that you can say, they're just messing up. It's not just the quarterback position. It's not just the O-line position. It's not the running backs. It's not just the receivers. And truthfully, even though the defense is kind of a bend but don't break defense, they're not playing as well either because they're getting out physical up front. A lot of times these teams are, especially you go back to the Atlanta game. The beginning of the Atlanta game, we got out physical. I can say just the beginning. The entire game, we was getting out physical the entire game, the Atlanta game. Yeah. We didn't get anything sparked until late in the fourth quarter, late in the second half to get it going. And each game, it's been the same scenario. But there's not just one position group that you can say, even down to the coaches. Everybody can get better. I mean, there's no room for anybody to point fingers at one position group. Every position group has to get better, and it starts with the coaches. Everybody has to take accountability. Everybody has to point their finger at themselves first to see what they can do better to help improve the team. And that's how we're going to get this thing rectified, man, because Jameis Winston, I mean, he's injured, but guess what? As many hits as he's taken, he should be injured, honestly. He should be, because the type of hits he take, especially at the quarterback position, he's always been in a compromised situation when he's throwing the ball or getting hit in the back or something like that. So the type of hits he's been taking a beating, but it hasn't just been all on the offensive line.
Right.
I've seen times where the running backs are missing blitz pickups, and they're getting to it. So even though he's getting sacked some and getting hit, all of it is not on the offensive line, but everybody have their part.
Yeah, bro, that's well said, bro. Accountability, man. That's a big part of it, Terrance, man. You're absolutely right. Pointing the finger at yourself and say, man, let's get it together. But man, when you look at the three aspects of the team, you talked about the offenses, and they're not looking good. You're right, the defense. On the drive when the Saints scored against the Carolina Panthers, the Saints scored the touchdown. The very next series of events, we get a ball back to Carolina. Carolina gets a touchdown, Terrance, and then kind of pushes the score up. And of course, that was because of missed tackles that occurred where LaVista Chenault was able to break a couple of tackles or guys to poorish angles, and he was able to score a touchdown and help elevate to keep the Saints from kind of moving. That kind of stole some of the momentum a little bit from what we was doing. So you're right. And even the special teams, you can even kind of cite the ills, the block field goal and the miss field goals, that happened. Will Lutz was 0 for 2 in that guy. I don't remember the last time I've ever seen him do that.
And even when it comes to the block field, I'm glad you brought that up. Even when it comes to the block field goal, that isn't even on the interior offensive line. That was like a 30-yard field goal. He has to get some elevation on that ball. It was so flat that there's no way a guy that's stalemated at the line of scrimmage should jump up and be able to block that kick the way it was, unless the kicker not getting enough elevation on the ball to get it up higher. So in my eyes, that's not on the guys up front blocking. That's strictly on the kicker. Getting the field goal block. So, like I said, everybody have a hand in it, man. There's not one group that you can say, you know what, they're doing their thing. Everybody have a hand on it. Our secondary is not tackling well,
right?
But with all that being said, and us being 1 and 2 in the division, it's still wide open. It's still wide open for us to take. Yeah, there's still a lot of football left, and there's nobody in our division that's really running away with it. It's still wide open for us to take it. So we still have time to get this thing rectified. But we got to go. We got to start. We got to go.
Yeah, brother Terrance, you're speaking a lot of great calm talk to a lot of the Who-Dats, man. A lot of Who-Dats are kind of hitting that panic button a little early right now. And I keep trying to kind of squelch that down and say, listen, family, we got a lot of football left. A lot of things could turn around here. We make our adjustments. We should be fine. So that, that's the talking point. But let's talk about one of probably the most talked about issue right now in the Who Dat Nation, brother Terrance, is the quarterback position. Who do you think should be starting for the Saints against the Minnesota Vikings, in your estimation? Who you think should start in week 4?
I think Dalton should. I think Dalton should
Okay.
be starting, but I'm a big Taysom Hill fan. And I know people don't like Taysom. Maybe they don't like Taysom Hill at the quarterback position, but honestly, I love him at the quarterback position. Last year when he played, we never got a chance to see him play the position healthy. Remember last time he messed his finger up on his throwing hand, and playing quarterback, that's tough to grip the ball like that. So a lot of his balls can be selling because he can't grip the ball the way it was. Then he had a foot injury. But I like him at the court. We never got a chance to see him healthy at the quarterback position. But I like what he do. He's so versatile.
Yeah.
I think Dalton is a great backup for us. He's played a lot of games. He's won a lot of games. And he may be that spark that we need. Right now, we're struggling offensively, but Dalton may be that spark that we need. Prime example, look at the Cowboys right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that he's the guy, but guess what? When they put Rush in, it sparked them. Now they're on like a 2-game winning streak.
Yep.
So it's not saying it's a quarterback controversy, but we need a spark. Offense, we need a spark.
Let's say, and you're right, we need something, and a lot of people kind of put it, looking at Jameis and saying Jameis is that in the third. I think Jameis is a good quarterback. I just think right now he's hurt. And you could tell, you could tell that it's impacting this game, because even the best part of Jameis's game, which is throwing the deep ball, he's one of the top 3 or 5 best deep ball throwers in my estimation in the NFL. And some of those he was missing on them. So I mean, you can't say that 4 broken vertebrae in your back will not impact you throwing the football. It most certainly will.
Mm-hmm.
And you, like you mentioned about Andy Dalton, the veteran. Man, listen, he was brung here just in case Jameis had some setbacks from an injury perspective. So, I mean, the insurance policy, they might cash that thing in, like you said this week, 2 straight practices right there. So, and let's say Andy Dalton gets going, Brother Terrance, and he starts sparking the Saints offense and moving it ahead. Once Jameis Winston gets healthy, does he come back and get the job? Or does just hypothetical, just ask, because I know this is going to come sooner or later down the line from the family. But what's your thought on that? Does he get the job back once Dalton takes it?
You know what? One thing that I would do to kind of eliminate that quarterback controversy, I would just say we just gonna make sure he's fully healthy before we bring him back. So I'm not rushing him back. If we start winning with Dalton, guess what? I'm not saying it's a quarterback controversy, but we're gonna make sure that Jameis Winston is fully healthy before we bring him back into the mix. So we're gonna ride Dalton out for a little while.
Right.
I mean, you got to if he had the hot hand.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, to me, when I look at sports, and I'm not a front office guy, I'm a former player. And what players want to do, players want to win. We don't care who's in the game. Next guy up. So I know the money issue is a big thing. He's making this money, so he got to be a starter. But as a player, we don't look at it that way. We look at it as next guy up. If we're winning with Dalton, let's ride Dalton. That's no disrespect to Winston, but we're trying to win games. Right. It's too hard to play in the NFL. Practice is too hard, and it's too hard to win games, period. Right. To go into a game thinking, okay, we're going to play this guy just because he's making more money. Right. As a player, that's how we look at it as players. Right. In the front office, they may look at something differently, and I respect that. I understand it. But as players, look, we're just trying to win. And so whoever's winning, let's go with it.
Bro, that's great insight, because when you were saying that, I was thinking about Mike Thomas, Jarvis Landry. I was thinking in my head, what are those guys thinking when they seeing the offense just stammering and stumbling? We can't get nothing going in the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and then the fourth quarter. All of a sudden, it's this air of desperation where we got to get it together because we trailing. If let's say this, let's peek inside your mind on that, Brother Terrance, and get your perspective. What is Jarvis and Michael thinking when all that's going on with seeing that the ineptitude of the offense at certain areas, and then we have to fight back 3 straight weeks to try to make it a game? What's the insight there from those guys, in your opinion?
They're frustrated. And I think everybody on that team is frustrated, especially offensively, but I think they're frustrated, but they are veterans. And they understand they got to stick together. They got to hold it. They got to hold the team together, because if your leadership start to question coaching or question play calling, outwardly,
Yeah.
then it's a domino effect. Those guys are the guys that, even though they're frustrated, they still got to hold the team together, because if they start going sideways, guess what? There's no coming back for the team, because that's how you're going to keep it together, through leadership and bringing Landry in, bringing the Honey Badger in. That's not only can they play the game, but their leadership and their accountability is another reason why they brought those guys in, because of their leadership. So even though they're frustrated, they're going to be frustrated, but they still got to hold it together, because that's what the team needs at this point.
Yeah, that's well said, brother Terrance, man. You're right, and that's great commentary, because Michael, you look at Jarvis, you look at Tyron, you look guys like Demario Davis, Cam Jordan. These guys been through it all, bro. They've been through it all, and they understand the highs and lows of the NFL game, and how you have to have that balance to be able to kind of make it through all of these tough times. But 1-2, man, even though, you know, it could be a lot worse than that, but we're still 1-2 in this thing. These divisional teams, the Panthers and the Bucks, they stole a couple of wins from us right here, but we gonna see you toward the back end of the season. We ain't done with you yet. So, but let's get into it. Let's talk a little bit more about it, bro. Yeah, the Jameis Winston thing, and if he's healthy, I really don't want to see him in there. But let's talk about the fumbling issues. What do you think about 3 straight games, bro? The fumble issues of the offense. I know the defense has its issues and that, but it's just, bro, if we can't get it shaken and baking from an offensive perspective, it's going to be long games and long seasons for the Saints offense. So how do we need to fix these fumbling issues? We had Mark with back-to-back fumbles in weeks 1 and 2. And then, of course, Elvin with the guy strips Elvin out, then returns it for a touchdown that helps the Carolina Panthers stay ahead in that matchup. What we need to do here? I mean, I remember you said earlier about pointing the finger and accountability, but if it keeps happening like this, what happens here? What we need to do to fix it?
We got to get back to the basics, and I'm quite sure that's what they're focused on, fundamentals. When it comes to the running backs, when it comes to fumbling, of course they're paying more attention to it. In practice, I can guarantee you, they're telling the scout defense to actually start to strip the ball out. They're doing extra drills during fundamental part of practice, where they're working on ball handling, ball security, different things like that. Even when it comes to the offensive line, just going back to the basics and the fundamentals, because that's where you're going to win the game at. The fundamentals, back to the basics. And that's what I think we're lacking.
Yeah.
I also think we're thinking too much, not on the turnover part of it, but I think we're thinking too much, because even the game, one of the games I was looking at, I think it was the last game. We had a receiver go in motion, and the center snapped the ball and hit the receiver in motion.
That's right.
That right there, that comes off of just overthinking. We're just thinking too much. That never happens in the NFL. You might see it in college or high school or little league, but that never happens in the NFL with a center snapping the ball while the receiver going in motion and hits the receiver. That's just because we're not on one accord, and that's down the line. And we're doing too much thinking. We just got to get back to fundamentals and to the basics, man.
Indeed, bro. Yeah, and of course the team that we got coming up, we got a London match up here early in the morning on Sunday, bro. To take on the Vikings, man. And you know, I mean, we had some of the Viking family members that came on early in the week to preview their team. But listen, let me tell you, Terrance, I don't like the Vikings. You know, I'm gonna keep. Listen, I don't. It ain't the same, you know, feeling I got for the Falcons or even for the Rams. You know what I'm saying? But the Vikings, man, I really don't like the Vikings. I'm, you know, sorry to say that, but listen, I don't like the Vikings, and I want to be able to beat the Vikings. I want to beat them in the regular season, and obviously in the playoffs. So, looking at that matchup, bro, what needs to happen? I mean, what guys you feel that need to step up, or what's the game plan you feel needs to be implemented against the Minnesota Vikings for us to have success?
Well, I feel like if we're going to play a team, the Vikings is the team we need to play right now. We need to get our confidence back. Defensively, the Vikings are giving up a lot of points. They did a great job of beating Green Bay the first game, but Green Bay been struggling anyway. But they've been giving up 24 points, 20 points, 24 points these last couple of games. And that is, even though they won, but they're still defensively, they're giving up a lot of points. And that is what we need right now. We need to get some confidence back in our offense, because playing against teams that defense are very stout, that's not an easy way to get your confidence back, because they're going to keep bringing pressure. But on the flip side of that, the Vikings are looking at the same thing we're looking at. The Vikings looking like, you know what? This is a good team to play to get our defense back going because offensively they're struggling.
Yeah.
You know, so they're looking at us the same way we're looking at them. Like, this is a game that we can get because these guys aren't world beaters. But one thing we have to realize, the Vikings know that Winston's probably not going to play. He hasn't practiced 2 days in a row. He's probably not going to play. We have to be ready to pick up the blitz because they're going to bring the pressure.
Oh, yeah.
And because they're going to do that, we got to get the run game going. We can't have Andy Dalton going out there throwing a ton of passes, dropping back a ton of times, and the Vikings just bringing the house. And we got to pick them up. So if we can get the run game going, we got a shot.
Yeah, I'm with you, brother Terrance. I love running the football, man. And I kind of are you in the same mindset of me that the Saints are dealing with a bit of identity crisis here? I know we understood from the perspective that Coach Payton's been there for years. But of course, with Dennis Allen taking over the team, and Pete Carmichael have to make his own stamp as the OC without Coach Payton's involved anymore. So, you know, through the first 3 games, man, it been, you know, what are we offensively? Are we a passing team or are we a running team? Kind of, to me, by looking at it, it seems like a bit of identity crisis. What do you think about that, bro?
I would agree with you. And that's not really necessarily on Pete, because at the end of the day, he can only call what his offense is going to allow him to do. And when I say that, if your offensive line is not holding up, there's certain play calls you can't call. Or if they're not holding up, they're not blocking, it's certain things you just can't call.
Yeah.
But one thing I've been seeing here lately, even in the last few games we've been playing, me personally, I feel like we need to go up tempo. When we go up tempo, when we get in those situations where we're in a 2-minute drill and we're trying to score, we're actually moving the ball better. We're moving the ball when we're up tempo. So maybe that's something that we can switch up and kind of go up tempo a little bit more.
I agree, bro. I've been yelling that over the last 3 weeks because when you study the film on the last 3 weeks, the commonalities is the fourth quarter. Why the Saints start scoring touchdowns in that quarter when they couldn't do anything anywhere else? Is because they have that urgency and they start getting into that 2-minute offense. So I'm like, okay, then let's do that. Yep. So I mean, but the Saints over the last 2 games have been throwing the ball 40-something times and only 20-something attempts. You know, what do you think about that, brother Terrance? I mean, that the week 2 matchup was basically, they kind of washed and repeated that for the Carolina game. They had Jameis out there throwing the ball 40 times and the Saints only running it 20 times. And you know that when we run the ball 30 plus times, we win what 90-something% of the games that we. So why are we, and like you said, I guess to a degree, if the offense is not handling the business, then of course Carmichael will help to adjust. But what do you think about that percentage, the 40 to 20 percentage over the last couple of games?
When the season first started during training camp, I always felt like, for one, Winston is, to me, he's a great talent at the quarterback position. I'm not doubting that at all. He is our guy. But we know that he still has that 30 interception season in his pocket. So if we're going to look for success, you can't have him in situations where he has to throw the ball 40 times a game. But because we're not moving the ball early, we're not scoring points early, he has to throw it. He has to throw it to try to get us back in it. But when we get to that point, that is a recipe for disaster when it comes to him throwing it. Not saying he can't do it, but it's more likely he's going to make those mistakes if we put him in those situations. And it's been consistently going on. It's been consistently throwing the ball a ton. Now, if it's 1 or 2 games where we gotta just, it's a shootout, then that's what we do. But you don't want to do that just because your offense is not moving the ball. We got to establish a run game. And until we establish that run game, we're going to struggle because our offensive line is not in sync right now. And if we continue to have them drop back and let defensive linemen and we blitz and they pinning their ears back, it's going to be a struggle. We got to be able to have a balanced attack, running the ball, passing the ball, screen play. We can throw screens. That's another reason why I like Taysom Hill at the quarterback position, because now we can have some run plays with him while he's in the backfield and have that extra blocker out there with him because he's actually the quarterback and he don't have to hand it off to nobody. He can just take it and run it himself, which, prime example, the Atlanta Falcons game. We score with him with Atlanta running the ball. That gave us a spark, you know. So Those type of things we need right now. We need to try to find that spark from whoever we can find it from, whether that's more screen game stuff, whether that's putting Taysom Hill in the backfield a little bit more at the quarterback position. We just got to find it. This game, we got to find it.
You know, Taysom, you're right. There's no denying that Taysom gives you a spark, man, when he gets out there. I just wish that Pete Carmichael would balance his package, his skill package that he runs when they just run him out there as a running back, because it pretty much telegraphs to the defense, here come Taysom, let's all stack up to the line of scrimmage. He ain't gonna pass the ball. I just want us to balance that, because if we can get him to learn, I've said this on the stream, if we can get him to learn, Terrance, five, listen, we don't want you to learn 20 of them.
Right.
We get 5 really good pass plays, and we'll cycle him. He would be dangerous back there if he mastered those 5 passing plays and they balanced that. He would be terrific. He would be absolutely terrific back there.
I agree with that, especially in the play action game. The play action game, once he come in, like you said, everybody expecting us to run the ball when he comes in.
Always, right.
Play action game would kill it, So but one thing, I trust our coaching staff. I trust Pete Carmichael. He's been around this for a long time. He's been the understudy of Coach Payton for years.
Yeah.
So I'm not questioning if he can run this offense or not. That's not the question. But offensively, together, collectively, we just got to get on one accord, because at the end of the day, to me, it's not just Pete either. It's everybody, like we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Everybody have a hand in it. And how the offensive line go, not just blaming the offensive line, because everything is not on them either.
Right.
But it starts with them. It starts with them.
Yeah, we can't do nothing without them, bro. They have to be able to man up and dominate the line of scrimmage so we can get the running game going, so we can get the passing game going. So, yes, indeed, you're absolutely right. So, Brother Terrance, let's talk about the Vikings right quick before I know my time with you is running out. I know you got some other business to take care of. Let's talk about the Vikings matchup. You mentioned a lot of key things there. What's your take on in terms of the score? How do you think the game ends?
I think it's a low scoring game. I don't think it get over 24 points. I think it's 21-17. Offensively, the Vikings aren't what we don't know if Dalvin Cook is going to play.
Right.
Because he was, I don't know if he practiced today or not, but I know he didn't practice yesterday. So we don't know if he's going to play, but
he fully practiced today, Brother Terrance. He fully practiced. So there you go.
So we got to be ready for them to run the ball. We got to be ready for them, because why wouldn't they run the ball? They've been seeing every team been very physical with us up front.
Yep.
And right now, whether we like it or not, that is our MO on the defensive side of the ball. We are not as physical as we should be. And teams are picking up on that. So they're going to come in and running the ball. Offensively, I think Kirk Cousins, he's an able quarterback and he's a willing quarterback that can play, but he's not a world beater.
Nope.
He's not a world beater. And Justin Jefferson, he hasn't went over 100 yards since the first game of the season.
Yeah.
So they're going to come in this game and they're going to run the ball. They're going to just try to establish some physicality up front with their team, but we got to be prepared for it.
Yeah, man. I mean, you said when I looked it up, he was DNP'd yesterday with a shoulder issue, and he fully practiced, not limited, fully practiced. The designation on the injury report goes. So if Dalvin Cook is in there for the Vikings, man, he is such a problem. And we got to turn that faucet off, man, because they'll flow that offense through Dalvin Cook. Next thing you know, they're taking shots downfield to Jefferson and Adam Thielen, trying to get those guys going, man. We just can't allow that. We got to get Kirk Cousins on the ground. We got to get him on the ground often and early.
And we got to get turnovers. And we haven't had any turnovers really this year. That is one thing we have to get turnovers. We just got to continue to play. I really want to say that the Vikings have an opportunity to kind of what can I say? They have an opportunity to put something together versus us. But again, on the other side of that, we got to make them one-dimensional.
Yep.
If we can't make them one-dimensional, it's going to be a long night. And when I say one-dimensional, we got to stop the run. We got to put the ball in Kirk Cousins' hands and try to let him win it for him.
That's right.
But if we can't stop the run and they can do both, they're running it, they're throwing it, they play action it, it's going to be a long night. It's going to be a long night.
Yeah, we most certainly can't allow that to happen. I feel more comfortable with Kirk Cousins, the game in his creaky hands, than to put it in Dalvin Cook. Let me tell you something. Dalvin Cook is something bad, man. He's fantastic. But brother Terrance, man, listen, I appreciate you chiming in, bro. And I won't be able to see you down the season, my brother. Pop back on them to the Sports Coma brand, holler about some black and gold, because we're gonna get up out this little hole we got out in midway season, bro. We're gonna go on a streak, and they all gonna change their minds, and they're gonna be saying, "Oh, I always thought I knew the Saints was gonna climb up." Yeah. That's why these shows are taped.
Right.
All that commentary, I'm gonna flash back to it. But brother Terrance, once again, man, shout out to the family members in the chat. Let them know where your platform is, my friend, so they can subscribe to you.
Man, you can find me on any of your podcast outlets. It's Believe in Saints. Again, it's BLEAV in Saints. You can follow me on Twitter at TCopper10, on Facebook, on Instagram, Terrance Copper. Those are the platforms you can find us on, man. Subscribe. Like I said, we all Saints. That's what we're talking about.
Oh yeah, all black and gold. That's why he here, man. Dropping the science, man. Salute to my brother Terrance Copper. Appreciate him stopping by the Sports Coma. You'll see the man down the line again popping in. So much love to the fam. Listen, I appreciate you guys for chiming on this installment of the show. Please feel free to hit the like button if you hadn't hit it. Also, feel free to share the show's links on your social media feed. And also check out the link tree in the description section for all our merch. We got thousands of products that's available. All our social media handles and contact information is in the link tree, nice and organized there. So family, listen, man, we appreciate brother Terrance, and that's a great game he dropping right there, man. And listen, man, we got to get this one over these Minnesota Vikings, man. We got to handle this. And brother Terrance think it'll be Andy Dalton up in there, man, and giving us the Saints a spark. So we need a change, man, with Jameis banged up like he is. So it's not a stab at Jameis, but if you're just not the man injured, man, he injured bad, man. And we could tell, man, you could tell he's injured, man. So finally they're getting it. All right. So much love to the fam. Appreciate y'all, fam. Y'all keep y'all heads up, and they're going to holler at you on the flip side. Peace. And who that to you, baby.
Yeah. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. 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 Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shame for the championship. Fucking on town, duck down. Falcons pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy, and you probably smell the crooked referees or Roger Goodell. Yeah, fucking like this, and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like this, and I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
WhoThatDaily.com. That's right, the WhoThatDaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, and even the top flight boxing news. So if you're a Who That and you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, the WhoThatDaily.com is your site. The WhoThatDaily.com for the sport Who That in all of us. Check out the Pro Shop. That's right, the Pro Shop is the platform stores where you can go and buy all the latest merch to support the platform. Available at the Pro Shops, we have dozens of hundreds of products available for you and your family. Unisex tees for men and women, hoodies and sweatshirts, tank tops, kids and baby items, long sleeve tees, mugs, pillows, wall art, bath bedding, face masks, phone cases, stickers, bags, fanny packs, socks, hats, and many other items. Please feel free to check out the Pro Shops. The link is in the description section below. And remember, it helps the platform continue to grow. Check out the Pro Shop and Who That too.